Coming to you from the greatest city in the world, this is the #1 showbiz podcast. It's Talk for Two. Here's your host, Matt Bailey.
Thank you, Gary, and thank you to our season sponsors, Axtel Expressions and the Tangent Bound Network. You know what to do. Go check them out. Today, I'm over the moon about this. I'm so excited. It's fantastic. Larry the Cable Guy joins us to talk about his shows this weekend in our native Pennsylvania. You can catch him and Jeff Foxworthy on their co-headlining We've Been Thinking tour, presented by RFD TV. It stops in Hershey, Pennsylvania at the Giant Center tomorrow, April 29th, and at the Santander Arena in Reading, PA, the day after. Head over to LarryTheCableGuy.com for tickets, or, as always, click the link below to be taken directly. Now, you'll notice, if you take a look at the tour dates, that the tour only happens on the weekends, as these days, Larry is all about his family. In addition to talking about his kids, we of course discuss what you can expect from the comedy concerts. One thing you won't hear this weekend, though, political humor. Larry tells me exactly why he avoids the election altogether on stage. Plus, Larry spills on why he loves touring with his mentor, Jeff Foxworthy. Here now, and my word, I've always wanted to do this. I'm sorry in advance to Larry. Here now to Git-r-done, our interview with Larry the Cable Guy. Larry the Cable Guy, welcome to Talk for Two. How are you today, sir?
I'm really fantastic. Good to talk to you.
Oh, it's great to have you here. We're really, really excited for your shows here in Pennsylvania. How much fun has this We've Been Thinking tour been?
Oh, man, it's one of the funnest things I ever did. I mean, everything I do is fun. I mean, you can always say one thing's better than the other, but Jeff and I've been on tour now for 9 months, and what makes it fun is Jeff and I are just really good friends. I've known Jeff since the mid-'80s, and there's no jealousy, there's no anything. We're just good friends, and we work together. And a lot of times somebody will go on, and the next person will go on, and somebody went 5 minutes long, and the person's pissed because they did too much time, or they didn't do enough. Me and Jeff, we don't care. If he goes long, I don't care. If he goes short, I don't care. I mean, so we get along really good, and it makes for a good, easy, flowing, fun show.
Oh, that's awesome. Now, I got to ask, who pulled the trigger here? Was it you? Was it Jeff? Who looked at the other and said, let's go out on the road again together?
Kind of mutual, kind of both of us. I was doing a charity event in Lincoln, Nebraska at the Pinnacle Bank Arena, and I told Jeff that he was my special guest. It was for a kid with cancer, and he was my special guest. And we didn't. At the end, he says, "How should we close the show?" And I said, "Well, just come up and we'll just do a mini like we did on Blue Collars, but instead of having people write down questions, we'll just have somebody go up there with a microphone and they can ask us questions." He was like, "Oh man, I don't know. You think we should do that with that?" I said, "Yeah, let's do it." So that's what we did. We went out and did it, and it's been awesome.
Oh, that's really, really cool. I'm curious. You guys have gone out on the road together so many times, different iterations, with Bill, you and Jeff, with Bill, Ron, you and Jeff. What's been the most surprising thing about this time out? What surprised you the most about this tour?
I don't think we're really surprised. I mean, I've always done good on the road and live shows, and so does Jeff. We knew it would run smooth, so there's nothing that's really surprising me about it. I knew that when Jeff and I toured together, the fans would be getting good shows, and we'd sell good tickets, and we'd have a good time, and all of those have happened. So there's not really much of a surprise there. It's two real successful comedians going out together as buddies, and hoping to have a good time while they did it, and all that has happened. So not a lot of surprises.
All right, we got to switch to some current events here. You're coming to Pennsylvania. We just had our primary at the time we're recording this last night. What do you make of this election? I feel like the material is just writing itself.
Well, it does kind of write itself. I try to stay away from this. We've been more divided as a nation than ever. I mean, we're in a lot of trouble in this country because social media, people are at each other's throats. So I just don't even bother with it. Life's too short, and I got a nice family, so I could care, Whatever's going to happen is going to happen. Like Prince said, prophecy's going to happen. So I just, I don't really deal with it. I could care less.
Yeah. No, so and it's good. I think people come and they want to escape, and they don't want to think about politics when they're laughing.
I think about it. I got a family and I got a future. Obviously, I vote and I'm involved and I vote, but I'm a comedian, so there used to be times are different. You used to be able to go on stage and do a joke about a political thing or something, but you can't do it anymore. Social media, mainstream media, everybody's got everybody so on edge, you can't do jokes about it anymore. I wish you could. I mean, I'd love to, but people are a bunch of fourth grade little pansies. So, you just stay away from it and let them wallow in their own crap, and I'll just go up and I'll tell jokes and have fun. And you know what I mean? I think people are coming out to get away from that garbage because they're sick of it. So we provide them an escape to get away from that stuff for a couple hours, and we're glad we are able to do that.
Absolutely, and that actually leads me into a question. When you said that about how divided it's been making our country, that reminds me of your television show Only in America, which I know is on the History Channel. And I got to tell you, just from my perspective, the reason I loved your TV show was because it showed what is great about America. And I think we need more things like it. I think it should come back.
Well, thanks. I mean, I get a lot of people saying they wish I'd do Only in America again. And I'll be straight up honest with you. I've had an awesome career. I made good money. I've got a great family. I don't want to spend my entire life wrapped up being away from my family and doing projects and never seeing my family. So I like to do stuff that keeps me close to the house. If I can't stay close to the house, then I don't do it. And Only in America would be fun to do, but you know what? That dog is hunted. I did 3 episodes. I did 3 seasons, 50 episodes. It was fun. I enjoyed it. I'm glad people enjoyed it. I could do it again. I mean, they asked me if I wanted to revisit the idea, but my family's way more important. I mean, I could go out and do another 3 seasons, and then when I'm done with that, my kids that are 8 and 9 now are going to be 16 and 17, and I was gone for a lot of those years, and I don't want that to happen because a lot of these entertainers, they get divorced or their kids don't like them because they were never there for them. I mean, at some point, you got to say there's something way more important than your career. And so I just, I'd rather be home and do stuff with my family and not miss these years. If it means that I miss out on a movie or if it means that I miss out on a TV series, then that's perfectly fine with me because I've already been blessed with the greatest career I could ever imagine. And so,
absolutely.
Once my kids are grown up and gone and, if the opportunity's still there, I'll do it. But by then, I want to be golfing every day and smoking a cigar on the porch. So
that's the perfect life. Now, do they get to come on the road with you at all? Your family?
Yeah, they used to. They used to travel with me on the bus till they started school. Mm-hmm. And not anymore. They don't do that. But I only travel weekends now. I only work weekends, so that's why I'm doing Friday. I do Friday, Saturday, and Sunday this weekend. So I do this weekend.
That's right. And this weekend you're going to be in Pennsylvania, Hershey, Pennsylvania on Friday, Reading, Pennsylvania on Saturday. Pennsylvania has been such a big part of your career. Your 60-minute profile, they filmed you out in York, Pennsylvania at the State Fair, and then you filmed Them Idiots with Bill Engvall and Jeff at the Consol Energy Center. What is your fondest memory of performing in Pennsylvania?
Well, I like all of Pennsylvania. You know, I got a lot of friends there, and the crowds are just so much fun, and they like to laugh. And I've got a ton of memories in Pennsylvania. You know, I shot a couple of Only in Americas in Pennsylvania, and I think I worked the Hershey Center 7 or 8 times. The Giant Center there in Hershey 7 or 8 times, and Reading all fun, but it's probably my 8th time to Reading, and Pittsburgh I've done about 6 times. The crowds are just awesome. I mean, they like to laugh in Pennsylvania, and I'm glad they do. And, you know, there's a lot of rural communities, and I grew up in a rural community, and so yeah, it's definitely been a really big market for me that I've enjoyed, and can't say enough nice things about it. You know, I tell everybody, I always say, where's your favorite places to go? And I always say 3 of my biggest markets are the state of Pennsylvania, upstate New York, and Baltimore, Maryland.
That's wonderful. Now I gotta ask. I know we were talking about how much you just love working with Jeff earlier, but I gotta ask: is there a favorite thing about how you two work off of each other? Do you have a favorite thing about working with Jeff? One thing you can kind of pin down on?
Well, I've known him forever, and he's just kind of like a mentor. You know, he kind of paved the way for a lot of us comedians coming up that were from the South. And, you know, I moved to the South when I was 15, so I lived in Florida 37 years. So I went to college in Georgia. And, you know, Jeff was always the big gun on the radio and the comedy clubs. And him and a guy named James Gregory and Tim Wilson and, you know, guys like that. And so he kind of paved the way. So be able to, you know, work with him and be on the same stage and be of equalness, you know, it's kind of cool. I mean, we're both co-headlining the show, and so that is a real thrill for me. You know, I really enjoy it. I'll never be, you know, Jeff is Jeff. He is the king of it, and I know my role. I know he is. I mean, it'd be like a guitar player being working his way up to the greatest guitar player that he can be, doing really good, and then all of a sudden he's next to Eddie Van Halen or something. You know,
you're both great.
That guy that grew up, in his head, he'll never be better than Eddie Van Halen, because that's like me. I'll never be better than Jeff because he's the guy that mentored me. So.
Oh, you're both great, and it's so interesting to play these large markets. I know people say this, and sometimes it's the wrong thing to focus on, but the style of humor, the country comedy, the redneck humor, you said in the 60-minute interview, you don't think of it like that. You think of it as just American humor. So are you ever surprised at how many people turn out to these shows and at how large your career has gotten?
No, not at all. No, because people like to laugh and they like this type of humor. I mean, it's just fun stuff. I think people like some of the crowds that were so massive back in the day. Yeah, we were like, well, wow, this is crazy. But not anymore. I know people like to laugh, and I always keep it fresh and I keep it new. So it's like if I had a good crowd last year and I got all new material and they all had a good time last year, then they'll have a good time this year. So the only thing that hurts comedy now is. I think the only thing, the crowds are still good. I mean, I've been out there a long time, so I tour a lot. So, you got to factor in now a lot of times economy, and times were different back when we were touring, but we still sell out. I mean, we still have great times. I mean, right now when we do arenas and stuff, we'll probably cut down the arena a little bit, but yeah. And I'll tell you what, Jeff and I are still top 5 touring comedians in the country.
Yes, you are. And so I know we got to run here in 2 minutes, but I want to close with the question I ask of all of my guests, and it's great to have one of the top 5 touring comedians answer this question. What is your advice to people that want to do comedy? What's one little nugget of advice that you can impart to people listening?
Well, if you're funny. I mean, you can't teach funny. I mean, a lot of people go to comedy classes. You can't teach funny. You're either funny or not funny. It's either in you or it's not in you.
Yeah.
And if it's in you and you want to be a comedian, you got to remember it's called show business for a reason. You got to be good at the business part, because the business part fuels the comedy part.
Yeah.
That fuels the show part. So a lot of people are pretty good at the show, but they're bad at the business. You see a lot of people that are funny that never made it because they slacked on the business. So it's called show business for a purpose. So you need to be up and you need to be alert. You need to be making phone calls and hustling. So you need to put the work in. You need to put the time in. Gone are the days people think they're just going to go on some TV show, tell a couple of jokes at some talent review, and next thing you know, they got a record deal. That ain't the way it works.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to be a comedian, number one, it has to be in you. You can't teach it. You're either funny or you're not. And it's show business. It's show business for a reason. You got to work at it. So if you're good on the business end and you're good on the show end, it's all going to come together for you at some point.
And we get to see a master at work this weekend. Larry the Cable Guy, can we get a Git-r-done?
Git-r-done.
Yes, all right. Thank you so much.
There you go, brother.
Larry, you go knock it out of the park as you always do this weekend, and I will be rooting for you and Jeff. You both have a big fan in me, and I really appreciate your time. Again, head over to LarryTheCableGuy.com for tickets to this weekend's Pennsylvania show dates. That's it for us this week. Thanks again to our season sponsors, Axtel Expressions and the Tangent Bound Network. Stay tuned to talkfor2.com on Twitter and Facebook for more. You can now follow us on Instagram as well. That's at talkfor2pod. Reach out by emailing talkfor2cast@gmail.com and talk about us using hashtag talkfor2 across all social media. Signing off for Talk for Two, I'm Matt Bailey, reminding everyone out there to keep talking for two.
You can hear more show business interviews with the stars at talkfor2.com.